Brodes Media.
That's a damn good win. That's a fucking damn good win to start the year off. Dallas sucks. We all know that. But I love the way that this offense looked for a week one performance with not a lot of practice time with AJ and Devontae and a new offensive coordinator and play caller. And we'll get into the lack of targets towards AJ, which I don't think is going to be a common trend. It's just how this particular game went. And we'll get into all that. But I think where we have to start is with two grown men spitting on one another. What the hell? I know. It's where we are. Now, here's the truth. Dak Prescott is a trash bag. It's that simple. What you can't do is call Jalen Carter all sorts of names when you see the original slow motion. And then when we finally, 3 hours later, see Dak do it first and make a very disgusting gesture towards him too. Now it can't change. You thought Jalen Carter was a scumbag because he did something so disgraceful, only to find out it was your guy to do it first. But I find this hysterical. Think of the two quarterbacks, the two leaders. Do you think ever Jalen Hurts prepared for a football game and said, here's how I'm going to get things started? I'm going to go on the road against a division opponent in a hostile environment, and I'm going to spit at their best player. Fuck no! Fuck no! You know what he thinks? I'm going to be the best quarterback on planet Earth for 4 quarters, and no one's going to stop me. I'm going to be so locked in that we're coming out of this place with a W, no matter what it takes. I'm going to make every throw I need to. I'm not going to turn the rock over. I'm going to play a smart game. I'm going to read the defense. I'm going to check at the line of scrimmage. I'm going to do whatever is necessary. All within the fine lines of the game. There's the difference between the two mentalities. Dak Prescott hasn't played football in a long time. That didn't accidentally happen. That had to be premeditated. You don't accidentally do that. He went out of his way, right in between two linemen, hiding like the trash bag that he is, and went full. One organization is going through one of the biggest identity crises that they've ever been through, and the other is the gold standard of the NFL. Winning championships and going to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. You're watching them raise a banner in their building. There's the difference. That doesn't excuse Jalen Carter, because Jalen Carter needs to know better. He put his team in a very difficult position. That game probably wouldn't have been as close if he was on the field, because now their offensive line has to double team, which opens up lanes for Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, and anybody else. So you remove that. And you got guys like Jordan Davis who are probably huffing and puffing even after losing 40-something pounds. You're putting these guys in very difficult positions. We need you. He's not just a different personality for the defense. He's a different personality. And when I say personality, I'm saying that the team itself, the defense, and the defense's personality is night and day with him on and off the field. But it's not just applied to the defense. The team's personality changes when he's on and off the field. Because what I loved about this group last season is they just played complementary football when they hit their stride. Same applies to what they're going to have to be this upcoming campaign if they want to repeat. What the defense does impacts what the offense can do. What the offense can do at times with long sustained drives can absolutely 1,000% help what the defense can do. We need Jalen Carter out there. You can't fall for it. It's a controllable. This is what you need to do. That anger that you have, and it's all bottled up, get to the fucking quarterback and hurt him. Not actually in a malicious way, but hit him. Hit him hard. Make him feel it. You fucking spit at me. You fucking jerk off. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you. And take him to the ground 2 or 3 times in a night. That's how you get revenge. That's how you get back at him. That's how you need to use that. I can't wait to see when these two teams meet up again and Jalen Carter gets that opportunity. He addressed the media post-game. He said he can't do that. I didn't see too much of what was stated other than he said he needs to be better for his teammates and for his fans as well, which is totally 1,000% true. But what a strange game, huh? Think about it. Adoree Jackson sucks. This man is hot garbage. They need to address that immediately. And we were worried, but I thought there was a way you could survive. And maybe if Jalen Carter is out there, then you do have more of a probability to survive, at least a little bit better than that. That was horrible. Adoree Jackson shouldn't show up to the NovaCare complex because his stuff should be outside in a box and say, thank you for everything you gave us, but it's not going to work out. You're not even allowed to be near us anymore because you stink. You had to deal with that. You had one of the best, if not the best defensive players of the NFL out. A.J. Brown couldn't even find a target until the very last drive of the game. You had a crazy delay, and it's week 1 when nobody is truly established or anything like that. All of that being the case, you still managed to win. And I thought you still looked like the better team. Were there drives where Dallas? Yes. But once Howie Roseman does the inevitable and cleans certain areas up, and once the team starts to click a bit more, what happened here? I'll say this about the Eagles. I'll spin it to you this way. January football, February football. I know some of you aren't accustomed to what February football is, but I've seen the gold standard Eagles football now for quite some time. What they do in September is nowhere even close to who they are in February. So the substance of this game, it matters in the now. It matters for dialogue today. And it matters for what we need to see Howie Roseman do. And Kevin Petula, who I thought actually had a pretty impressive first day at the office for never having the headset on calling plays in the NFL. I thought there were some really, really strong things. Saquon didn't get as going as we need him to, and I think that's something you have to watch with the tape and see what you can do to sort of get that going, but that's more of like that will change. It's just, okay, we got some tape, we got some knowledge, we'll apply our information to our game plan, and we'll get that clicking the way we need. It's the same team, by the way, who couldn't even score in first quarters last season. They couldn't even get any touchdowns going and any creativity, any movement of the chains going early in games. They're just ho-humming, getting responses to big touchdown drives by Dallas, picking on Adoree Jackson. So, you know, that'll all work itself out. I think this was a good, strong foundation start. This sets the tone. You're winning football games. You're doing anything necessary. Tush pushing late to keep the clock going. Finding ways on 3rd and 3 to ice the game. Getting stops however you need to. Now, did CeeDee Lamb drop a few passes? No doubt about it. But here's how I feel as an Eagles fan today. I don't think by any means they got lucky that Dallas fucked this up. Now, of course, there were plays that CeeDee Lamb would like to have back, but I don't feel, the Eagles escaped this game as if the Eagles didn't do anything to win, as if they didn't match winning plays of their own, and they didn't provide what they needed to win. I didn't feel that way because there are some games where I have no idea how they won. I have an idea on how they won. Jalen Hurts making plays when needed. Of course, there were sequences that Dallas feels they left on the table. Yes, there are passes that CeeDee Lamb will have nightmares about. But again, here's the difference when you apply it in a very simplistic way. One organization is filled with winners. One organization is filled with losers from top to bottom. One team finds ways to win, like punching the football out of Miles Sanders' hands after he's smelling himself with the 50-yard run, and he's celebrating, getting cocky, thinking he's the man. What an idiot. What an absolute moron. Because here's Jahad Campbell, Byron Young. I don't know who they actually gave credit to. I don't give a damn. I look at it as the Eagles forced the fumble, and you made that play happen. And luckily you did, because the lightning strike happened right after that. But that's a winning play. You need a stop. You haven't been able to get a stop. And speaking of Jahad Campbell, I watched him in coverage once. I can't wait to see what this kid becomes. I thought he was a DB. This kid's a linebacker, and he's 50 yards downfield in coverage. In coverage. Just wait. Oh, it's going to be great. But I actually thought this was a nice game for them. I do. I think it was a nice game for them. It was a nice week one effort. Things to work on, things to build off of. But just how they set their foundation as a team. I say this in the back of my mind and go, Jalen Carter spit on someone, Brodes. What type of foundation is that? I know. You need to get A.J. Brown going more. You need to get Saquon running the football more. But I was told Jalen is only a winner because he relies heavily on the run game. Well, Saquon didn't really have that special of a day. They were pointing it out. Well, hey, right around that line of scrimmage, you're starting to see some of these Cowboys really crash in on him. He made the one spectacular one-handed catch and then juked and broke a tackle, and he was able to run and gain a few yards there. So it wasn't all dead out of the Saquon Barkley experience. I thought before Will Shipley got injured, there was a nice spurt in there. You saw A.J. Dillon get a carry for about 9 yards, and you think, this guy's huge. This guy's a monster. It reminded me of a LeGarrette Blount style of run. But in totality, I've seen way uglier wins. I actually think this was just a solid win, and the quarterback led you there. And that's how you win in this league. When your quarterback is leading like that, and your quarterback is making plays and delivering the football on time and just making smart decisions and not turning the football over and playing a clean game and escaping and scrambling and being smart and buying time, and the way he surveyed the field, and it really did look like an extension of Jalen playing his best football right away, instantly. That hasn't always been the case with Jalen. Jalen's an interesting one because he is always defended by someone like me by it doesn't matter what it looks like because we get the result we're looking for, which is wins, which means there's ugly times. There's poor throws. There's a sack he shouldn't take. There's a fumble. He may respond to that fumble, but there's that ugliness. But when you need him in the fourth, he's there. So you preface all the ugly with, yeah, but he did enough to win. This was an extension of when Jalen is cooking. And I think that's what makes me settle in and go 2 thumbs up, regardless of some of the other areas that you would like to talk about. There's something I want to talk about, and that's my love for DraftKings Sportsbook. That is correct, my friends. Game on. Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This isn't just football. It's first touchdown. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime touchdown rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. Take a look at this slate that we have on Sunday. So many golden opportunities for you to cash out nicely. There's a Friday football game in Brazil. You got YouTube action, which is phenomenal. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Brodes. That's code Brodes to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. I can't believe Nolan Smith got that penalty for the flex. What a disgrace the NFL is. So you're telling me, I believe it was Jalix Hunt there, who got clobbered by a left hook from the left side of the Dallas's line. That's totally cool. That's absolutely 1,000% acceptable. Yet Nolan Smith makes a fantastic tackle, and he hits him with a mean mug flat. This is the National Football League. This is professional sports. And I guess it's hard to make that claim when I'm talking about two men spitting on one another. And I can't stop thinking about that. I watched a game with one of my buddies. He came over for a little bit, and he's not a diehard Eagles fan or anything. I just wanted to kind of hang out with him. He came over. He ended up leaving during the lightning delay. But I just said 50,000 times, dude, what? What? Now, this is before we got the angle of what Dak Prescott did, but I couldn't even fathom the fact that that's what happened. We had a Ben Van Sumeren injury, 5 seconds kick off the clock, and Jalen Carter's getting ejected. Mike Tirico is just screaming, he's out of the game! He's out of the game! I'm going, he's out of the game! And then you see a slow-mo of his face, and he's reacting to getting kicked out, and he's talking to himself, and he's got his helmet in his hand. I'm going, what? What? But this is grown men playing football, getting paid billions of dollars, and you can't flex after making a strong play. Just what a loser. I was going to say franchise, but business, corporation, whatever. I mean, they got me sucked in. I'm here no matter what. We're all here. We're brainwashed. We're consuming. But just what a joke. I didn't like that Reed Blankenship penalty on Ferguson either. Now, by the letter of the law, was it a penalty? Maybe. But I don't like the letter of the law. There was literally nothing Reed Blankenship could do with time and space with the way that ball was thrown as Ferguson was going to the ground on his own. And it was just a gruesome looking live collision more than it was some evil and nasty play. But they called it. Ball doesn't lie, though. That's when the Miles Sanders thing happened. And Dak Prescott made a hell of a tackle because that would have been brought to the house. Now, speaking of the defense making plays, I needed Q to bring that interception in with about 3 minutes and change or so, something around that, in the fourth quarter. So there was no CeeDee Lamb drop, and there was no sweating it out on a late drive. Close the door. Finish the game. Lock it up. Close it down. I can't have a Dory Jackson out there. I can't have Bennett out there. I think Bennett might be your best option, but even Bennett gets out there, and what happens? It was right before half. It was, I believe that was the field goal that made it 21-20 as they went into half, but you had a defensive pass interference call on Bennett. You had Nolan Smith hit Dak Prescott in the face with his hand, so that was another flag. You just gave them way too many free yards, and they go all the way into field goal territory, and they kick 3 points, and that was massive, knowing that you were getting the ball back at half, and that's when you could have added separation. You ended up doing enough, and I truly think it was a solid win. You can only build off of this. And just knowing the trajectory of the Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni era, that if this is the worst they bring, and this is the start of them, without really kicking it into gear yet, maybe it's not the worst of this season. There may be a stinker because they are human, and that does happen over 17 games, but I just know they normally do their standard cliche that may bore a lot of people, but the 1% better every day. It traditionally goes not in a straight line, but over time when you look at the 17 games and the schedule and sort of how they peak, when they peak, how they adapt, how they grow, how they become the best version of themselves, it does go up and up and up and trend smoothly in that direction. And the fact that this is our starting point actually makes me excited. I saw some Eagles fans saying traditional win where you get the W, but there's so much to bitch about. Is there really, though? I didn't think this was a bitching style of game. Maybe A.J. Brown needs to be more featured. And I'm sure A.J. Brown is, I don't know, not mad, but wants more looks. And I think that's something that Jalen, AJ, and Kevin Patullo will figure out. I promise you, you're not going to go 3 quarters and almost the entire fourth quarter with AJ Brown being non-existent every single week. What I've realized with this current makeup is some days it's Saquon days, some days it's Goddard days, some days it's Devontae days, some days it's AJ days. Now, AJ days seem to hit more than others. Normally, it's, you know, AJ and Saquon in some capacity, and then maybe Devontae flirts in one day more, Dallas flirts in another day more, and it's something along those lines. AJ normally isn't the outlier, but sometimes there is a span where it is a little quiet on that front. Never this quiet. Maybe it's 4 targets, maybe it's a couple of receptions, and you wonder what they're going to do to make it work. But to what I've been saying, don't they eventually get it to the A.J. Brown show? Don't they eventually make sure he is featured and he is getting the ball on slants and he is able to get the ball in his hands and he is able to have one-on-one coverage, and you throw a deep ball and you say, hey, go beat your guy, and he high points the football and it's a big explosive play in the air? Doesn't that happen all the time with the A.J. Brown experience? So it's going to get there. It's going to get there. Today, Jahan Dotson got the 50-yarder, and that ball was right on the money. I never want to hear that Jalen Hurts can't throw a football again, because that's like one of the worst statements in the history of the world. I mean, it's pathetic to think that. You watch football, and that's your stance when you watch him lock and load it up? Jalen Hurts gave A.J. Brown props for staying patient. Called his catch in the fourth quarter the most important play of the game. That's my quarterback, as he's sitting there with his suit jacket and his chains. How about the way he walked into the stadium? I love that. It was either the Eagles or the NFL Twitter account where he's walking in. He's got that nice swag to him. You just know he's going to cook. You know he's going to go off. Oh, it's phenomenal. But that leadership from the quarterback, when you have that weird delay and you see everybody take the field for 15 minutes to stretch and warm up, you go as he goes. You see him locked, you're locked. That simple. Dak Prescott is spitting on people. That's the difference between the two. Landon Dickerson, that back injury, man, it looked like he was in some serious pain, and it makes sense. I mean, did you see what he's been through all through camp with the meniscus, and he popped up on the practice report with something other than the meniscus. And it sucks that he's battling through that this early in the season. He does seem to be a warrior that can compete through that stuff more than most, like a Jason Kelsey, like a Lane Johnson. But the fact that it's already impacting him this much, where Thoat came in to play left guard a bit, yeah, that's a little concerning. I think he can battle to a certain point. The fact that we might be at a version of some breaking point already isn't lovely. We'll have to monitor that situation as we move forward. Jordan Davis played a ton. There were a few things. There were a couple of I'm unknown on the Jordan Davis thing. The first watch, Drew, I saw a couple of things. I needed him to bring down Dak Prescott twice, and he didn't. But then I saw him get his hand on a football for sort of a tip at the line of scrimmage. And then I saw him make another play with Jalen Hunt there that was strong. So I need to go back and check it all out. I saw some things I liked. I saw some things I didn't like, and I'm sort of unknown. But you're also getting thrown into the fire 5 seconds into the game. Then there's no Jalen Carter, and you got to show up. So I need to go back to the tape on the Jordan Davis experience. There's a lot of things going on here, okay? It was a wild and epic game. I haven't seen anything like this in my life. Let's go to the phone, shall we? Let's take some of your phone calls. Let's go to Mist.
Brodes, brother, it's Mist. Hey, an ugly game for sure, but a win is a win. Stuff to work out all over the place, no doubt, but we knew that. You know, the offense having some struggles. We've been through this. We know. It's going to take a little bit. And they weren't, they were having issues with the offensive line. Clearly Dickerson's dealing with that back issue, which anybody who's had back issues is knows how difficult that is. So hopefully he can get that worked out. And the offensive line can, get some cohesion. And the defense, obviously, you lose Jalen Carter to that idiotic nonsense. And you know how this game works. You lose a guy like that on the defensive line, it opens up everything for the offense. They don't have to dedicate so much resource to dealing with him. You can deal with everybody else. So, I give some leeway to the pass rush and everything with that. And the secondary and the back end is like, man, you got guys playing who you didn't even know were going to be on the roster 2 weeks ago. So it's going to take some time. We know it's going to take some time, but still, we saw some good things. You saw some good stuff out of Campbell, and you saw some good stuff out of a couple of the other guys. So, hey, after you let it all settle, there's some positives to work on and keep going. Go Birds.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. And I think the difference between winning and losing organizations is when you figure out your identity as a team, because each year it is different. As you go through that, you still win while you do it. And you win at a high clip. There may be a loss sprinkled in there, and that's part of your learning moments and your learning curves and your ups and downs and your adversity that you hit. And think about this seriously. You talk about this team being battle-tested and fighting through some gnarly things throughout a game. Losing Jalen Carter is like losing Jalen Hurts of the defense. Or it's like losing Saquon Barkley of the defense. Or losing an A.J. Brown of the defense. It's that type of significance. You still won. While you have a huge hole in Adoree Jackson, you still won. While having to deal with the biggest momentum play of the game being the fumble. All the momentum you gained, the Link going berserk, the Link going crazy, to everyone go get shelter for an hour plus because there's lightning. So the biggest play of the entire game that swung the crowd and the energy on your side was stopped. And now you have to go back out there. All of that happening. Your best weapon not being a part of the offensive plan and well, maybe not a part of the plan. It just didn't work out that way. You still managed to win. That's crazy. But the way this team does it, when they go through their identity learning moments, they win throughout that process. While other teams can't at this same level, not at this same rate. They don't win at this clip while doing it. And that's what separates you. That's what makes this the gold standard right now. And it really does stem from Jalen's mentality. Everyone wants to talk about Jalen, this, that, the third. What does he do? Top 10, 11th. I take this guy. Whatever. It is what it is. You don't see the excellence. You don't see the way that he culturally sets the tone and how much that matters. One thing Nick Sirianni has stressed since the moment he got here, and I didn't always feel this way. I always felt, go get the best talent. This is pro sports. Go make it work. I don't care that T.O. and Donovan don't like one another. Go get the best talent. Make it work. They got close. They couldn't secure it. While there's a lot of talent here, Nick Sirianni says, I don't care if I have the most individual talent. I want the best team and the guys that love one another, fight for one another, believe in one another, do this all for one another, because that's what separates you. That mentality is Jalen Hurts to a T, just from the way he sets a tone. That tone that Nick sets about brotherhood and family and being one. The way Nick approaches football, it's that. It's not brotherhood that, but it's obsession with the game. It's so culturally not motivating, but it's contagious. Is that even making sense? Jalen's so different that I can't even describe how different he is because he doesn't make sense, but he's elite at what he does, and it's so obvious. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's go to Sam.
Well, it's always great to beat the Dallas Cowboys, but really, I'm happy because that was a really good starting point, I think. I'm happy with this starting point with the team. Jalen had a really awesome game, even though I don't think the passing scheme was very good. Obviously, AJ and Smitty didn't really get too much, but Jalen had an awesome game. The offensive line struggled, and you are worried about Landon's health going forward, but I think it's going to be okay. On the defensive side of the ball, I have a tough time evaluating them today with Jalen Carter playing 0 snaps. So I think they picked it up in the second half on the edge. And, you know, I am excited. Campbell looked good. I like the safeties tonight, but when it comes to the second corner, look, obviously that was a problem, and I think Bennett is probably the best option in the long run, and Adoree Jackson is definitely not going to be here. But if Fangio really does not like Bennett, and I really like him, if Fangio doesn't like him, we got to find something else.
No doubt. And I have so much belief that they will figure it out. And that's why I'm not really hitting a panic button. There's no way Howie Roseman just lets this rock if it's going to be this bad. He'll make moves. He keeps mentioning those draft picks, and he'll figure it out. So I'm just saying the draft picks, if he wants to make trades, if he wants to look at options, whatever he does. Now, Dak Prescott spoke, and this is, again, not taking accountability and being an absolute fraud and loser, and this is their leader. Quote, I guess I needed to spit, but I wasn't going to spit on my linemen, so I just spit ahead. And he feels very insulted that Jalen Carter suggested that he tried to spit on him. Again, what an absolute fraud. Trash bag is the best way to describe it. I mean, that's as low can be. He clearly, intentionally spit at Jalen Carter and smirked and smiled. That wasn't just a spit and then was like, oh, wow, that was a little close. I was just kind of spitting and it just, no. The smile, the grin. I mean, we're humans. We know what that is. Not dumb. You got emotionally charged up. The adrenaline was kicking. You haven't played in a while. You let the emotions get the best of you. You did it. Own up to it, though. I'd at least respect that. This makes you more of a trash bag than you already were. Nick Sirianni added that he was going to keep any disciplinary action in-house, but we need Jalen Carter on the field. I was actually putting myself in the position of Jalen Carter, or of Nick Sirianni, and I wondered if I knew how I would handle it, and I really had no idea. Now, Jordan Davis, 6 tackles, 2 pressures, 1 batted pass, and a tackle for loss. Played the second most snaps on the D-line tonight. So, yeah, I think the reason why I said unknown is I think I got stuck on a couple of those early plays that bothered me. And then I wanted to kind of refresh a little bit. So, yeah, that's about pretty much everything I wanted to hit on for the most part. We'll continue talking about this game, obviously, throughout the week, throughout the weekend. This is just my instant reaction sort of thing. But I'll tell you what I am going to enjoy, an Emilio cigar. After that chaos, after that wild, emotional game, I need to go out back and light an Emilio cigar up, and you should join me. If you're a cigar smoker, old school roots, new school attitude, that's what Emilio cigars are all about. Locally owned, third generation, made at Fabrica Oveja Negra, Nicaragua. It is the best cigar to ever touch my lips. A celebratory cigar, a victory cigar, whatever you want to call it. It's calling for you right now. And all you have to do is go to their website. The link is down below in the description, and you can use promo code Brodes10 for 10% off your purchase. Do me a favor. If you are an enjoyer of a cigar, check them out. There's plenty of different options for you to choose from. Give it a whirl. My neighbor, who is a big-time cigar smoker, I gave him a few. He goes, Brodes, I mean, this is seriously unbelievable. Not wink, wink. I need some more Emilio cigars in my life. I said, promo code Brodes10, baby. And now it's all he smokes. It's incredible. And you can bring this to a family party. You can go golfing with the boys. Whatever it is, you can just hang out by yourself and enjoy watching the Eagles and light one up after. But it seriously is the best cigar to ever touch my lips, and you should join the Emilio Cigar family today and check them out down below. With that, thank you guys all so much, and I will see you all on the next one. Go Birds!